I got into self improvement in January 2023. And before that, November and December 2022 were, I would say, one of my worst. This is one of the worst times in my life. November, December 2022, absolutely like, I wouldn't lie to you, it was shit. Like, it was, I wouldn't, it would be an exaggeration to say that it was like rock bottom, but it wasn't good either. And it wasn't like okay and bearable also. Like, it was bad, man. It was bad. Maybe not the rock bottom bad, but still, it isn't the life that you want to live, and I want to live here. This was in December and November 2022. In January 2023, of course, I got into self improvement. Like, it was basically like my whole self improvement journey is the New Year resolution that I actually succeeded in. I actually accomplished it because I got into self improvement on January the 2nd. So, like, the day after the New Year. You know, I heard like a phrase, I think, on a podcast. And the phrase was that hitting the rock bottom actually motivates us far. Like, it's actually almost like, in a way, a good thing. Because when you know the kind of what happens at the abyss of the rock bottom, you will not strive to go to that place again. And you know what has brought you there. You know the exact habits that you have been a master in, that you have completed like your 10,000 hour mark in. You actually became good at them. You spent 10,000. Like, there's a phrase that you need to spend 10,000 hours on something to become a master at it. Like, man, I've probably been kind of like a semi master in video games. Like, maybe not 10,000 hours, but like six, seven, like solid. It's like 7,000 hours. Like, I can guarantee you that I spent on playing video games, and even 1,000 hours spent on something is like you're already in the 1% of things. Like, 10,000 hours is something, just another universe. You just become like the leader in this kind of sphere, in this domain. Hitting the rock bottom actually motivates you more than any external wants. Your This was the video that I uploaded yesterday, and it's called "Own Your Darkest." I'm sorry, own your deepest insecurities and fears. And it's kind of like the pretty much the same thing, because your fears are kind of, in a sense, based upon the feeling that you will get to your rock bottom. Like, my feeling of fear, I'm not talking the fears about like the fear of heights or like the spiders or like some shit like that. No, I'm actually talking about it more like a self improvement way, where your fear is, I don't know, to be just a normal, like, to be just a normal person, to play, because the average normal person these days, man, he's obese, he plays video games, he uses social media 2 hours a day, maybe 2 hours a day, maybe like something seven, maybe something like 7 hours a day. He doesn't go to the gym, he doesn't even walk. He orders like, man, he orders fucking deliveries. Like, the shop, like the actual grocery store, is like maybe 500 meters from his house, and he orders a fucking delivery. and not your normal like delivery of cucumbers and freaking tomatoes, beef or something like that. Like, man, yeah, there are delivery services of that. Like, okay, it's pretty good if you have a delivery service that delivers you, I don't know, meat once a month, like pure grass fed meat. Like, this is amazing. But he actually orders some fucking cheeseburgers. Like, that's, man, that's the normal person. That's the average person. You don't want to become him. You really don't want to become him. And that maybe is your fear. And I would say, instead of kind of coping with it, I would say like you can use it as an insane drive to get away from that, to like be the opposite of a normal person, but in a good sense, not in like be a psychopath or some shit. Like, no, to just be the highest possible version of yourself, the best one, the most productive one, the most athletic one, the most loving one. Like, that version of yourself, the exact opposite of an average person these days, that is the goal. And your drive, your motivation will be skyrocketed if you use that kind of fear to become like, this was just a siren, but I think it's close enough to the topic that we are talking about today. And hitting the rock bottom is actually like, I view it almost like a good thing, but but in like a very narrow sense. Because if you hit the rock bottom, like, of course you get millions of problems. But there is one positive. And the positive is big. And that is, if you know where you have been and you don't want to be in that place ever again in your life, and you actually start doing some shit, you actually take action, you change your personality, you become a different person, the 2.0 version of yourself. You get on the self improvement and you actually start changing your life for better. That is when you know that your life is going to be better. You're going closer to heaven. It's like if we talk some Jordan Peterson terms right here. The December and November of 2022 have been really a massive motivator for me. Because I remember, like, Jesus Christ, I have a photo on a screenshot on my phone. And I think it is something from like the last days of December. Back then, of course, as I said, bazillions of times on this channel, I was a massive video gamer. I was a total addict. And I have a photo, as I said, a screenshot. There's kind of like a video gaming streaming platform called Trovo. It's like, or of course, the video game lives and like the streams and all this stuff. They like, and I have a photo of my stats on this platform. I didn't stream like that. If I streamed something and I actually like I made it into a freaking side hustle or some shit, like that would have been a bit better. But no, I was the one who watched, and I'm not like, my phone is like right on the opposite side of the room, so I'm not going to take it out. But I think my watch time was something like more than 200 hours, closer to 300. Imagine that. I think it was 253, like plus minus like something around 250 hours. Imagine that. Imagine spending 250 hours of your life, the precious the finite time that you have on this earth, and you spend 250 hours in which you can do an abundance of things, you can accomplish goals, you can like actually become a better person, because 250 hours, like it might seem not that much, but it's a lot. It's a lot in a sense that you can accomplish many things. Yes, you will not in 250 hours build a good physique and just accomplish some massive goals, but I can guarantee you absolutely that you can read, I don't know, 5 books in this time. 5 books. And like not the small ones, 150 pages. Like you can read some thick books, more like 400 pages, something like that. 400 pages books in this time, or watching somebody play fucking Call of Duty. Like, as a you probably, of course, you are on self-improvement, or at least you're trying to get onto it. Like, the trade-off is just not an inadequate. It's just like the English language doesn't have this word to describe what a stupid trade-off it will be to just give away the probably life-saving books that you can read in this time, or some like actually like good philosophical fiction, like that you can read and actually become more mature as a person. But you can watch instead in somebody else. Like, that is kind of like the main point, that I think it's absolutely outrageous right here. That you watch somebody play video games, somebody you're not even playing yourself, you're just bored. You're watching somebody play video games. You're like, he's the one who gets the most kills and like the most XP and all this stuff. He's the one who's buying the skins that you want on video games. He's the one who's getting attention, but he's the one who's also made this into a side hustle. Because all of the guys that I watched back then, like, I realize right now that we can talk about like how video games are bad, but man, they were still in a better position than me. Why? Because they were making money from it. This was their work. Like, if your work is playing video games, like, yeah, you can, it's questionable, but it's still work. Like, I never wanted to become like fucking, like, even though I've been a total addict, video game addict. I never wanted to become a professional esports player, because those guys are not playing. The guy who is like, I was a massive Call of Duty addict back then. And I didn't want to become a Call of Duty esports player, because the guys who actually win the tournaments, they are not playing, they're working. This is their 9 to 5. Yeah, and they earn their millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it's still questionable, because like, I don't feel that this is their purpose, to actually kill somebody in video games. Like, I don't think their 90-year-old self lying on a deathbed will be like will be thinking that, oh, it was a great decision to make video games the purpose of my life. Like, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. I'm not trying to criticize them, because I don't know who they are. Maybe like they're actually enjoying their work. But for me, it's very much on the opposite side of desirable jobs, because you sit in front of a computer and you need to practice. Like, they're not playing in ranked in Call of Duty. They're just there on the kind of shooting range. They get their in meta gun, whatever like the meta is right now, and they're just aiming like at the very like like the running NPC right there to shoot him, to shoot the bullets precisely in him, and to have the fastest killing, like all of this stuff. It is just so, it just seems so inadequate to me. It's almost stupid to consider this as a job, and like many of the young guys actually want to become some esports player because they think that if they play video games they'll be esports player. Like, no. If you consider yourself a fucking professional in Call of Duty, like, man, you'll have some skill issue problems when you're compared to like the esports player, because he's working. He's working, man, and you're just wasting your life. You're rotting it away. So do not try to be an esport. This was kind of like a massive side rant. But I just see so many guys like my age, 15, 16, maybe younger, 14, 13, who want to become professional esports players. Like, it just always blows my mind how ignorant they are on this topic. Because if you play video games, it is not enough. If you play, if you're working on your aim with one particular gun, with this particular sensitivity, on shooting range for 9 hours a day, and you train to become a massive esports player, then like it might be justifiable. Might. It is like, it's not justifiable 100%, but it's like, it is at least something. What do you call it? More goal orientated. So this was kind of like a massive side rant, of course. um but I think still, if we come to the original topic of this video, why hitting the rock bottom might actually save your life, I think it is. And I hope that you will actually like become a better person and not hit the rock bottom. Because, as I said, like, rock bottom, again, it has one positive thing and a million bazillions of negatives. And see you in the next one.